and my featured guest today is TV star and motivational speaker, Jessica Castro.
How are you?
I'm great, sweetheart. It's so good to see you.
I know, it's literally been forever.
Too long.
We've known each other for forever, but we haven't seen each other in forever.
I know, and can I just say how proud I am of you and how far you've come and how much you've accomplished and everything that you're doing right now. You're an inspiration to so many women and just people in general. Like, it's just, it's a privilege to have been there with you from the beginning and see everything that you've done. And I'm in awe.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been a long journey. I got chills just thinking about it.
We started out like dancing in music videos together. Like,
the
last music video we did was the Imani Polanco video. It was the last.
Oh my God!
video
Yes, it was.
together.
Wow, that was like
a couple of years ago. Even before that, we did like calendars together.
Yeah.
Like all different types of shoots, modeling gigs, dancing gigs.
Yeah.
Like, we've known each other for a really long time, guys. Back when like we both looked completely different. Like,
I was blonde with bangs. Like what? that definitely was more than 10 years ago.
But now we're
sure.
grown women, though.
Yes.
We're grown
oh
women.
my God, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
And you're also doing amazing things, so this is great.
Thank you, babe. But yeah, I'm just so honored to have you here on the show because I just feel like you have so much and just such an amazing story to tell for our audience. I mean, you know, the topic of the show, Tools for Talent, is we provide tools, tips, and advice for aspiring artists.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure there's tons of people that want to know, like, how you got where you are today. So if you just want to kind of give us a little short version of your life.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. So growing up, I always watched beauty pageants with my mom, and I thought, well, I knew I wanted to do that. The only thing was I didn't know how to get into entertainment. I didn't know anyone. None of my family members had any connections.
That's what Tools for Talent is for.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you know, listen, if we had this 10 plus years ago, probably things would have been so much easier.
That's what I've been saying.
So, you know, I just didn't know how to get into it. But then after high school, I moved to Virginia. I just wanted to get away. I had family there, and it was just kind of like a scapegoat for me. And I swear to you, randomly, beauty pageant form entry just like was in my mailbox. And I was like, I never signed up for this, but maybe this is a sign.
I could say you have the right poise for.
Yeah, well, they didn't think so.
Well, you were young.
It was my first. I literally went in blind.
Really?
I didn't know anything.
But you gave it a shot.
I did. You know,
That's
it was
what
fun.
matters.
I met some amazing girls along the way who'd been doing it for years. And it was a good experience. I didn't place, but just the experience itself for me, I was, you know, quite satisfied.
Yeah.
And then that was just it. But I realized quickly that beauty pageants wasn't for Jessica. I knew I wanted to be in the arts, but beauty pageants now was just scratched off my list.
So it's a good learning experience.
It was, you know, it was good. I learned it from like right off the bat, as opposed to doing 5 back to back, and then like, oh, I give up because I'm not placing.
Yeah.
I
So
realized
then
I'm
when
not
did you
good
come
at
to
this.
New York then? So that was in Virginia, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I'm from Brooklyn, born and raised. So I just was out there for about a year and a half.
Oh, okay.
I came right back. I was homesick. Home, you know, New York is home, and I haven't left since. And I was 20.
Yeah.
You know, so I came back and
then you booked Latina magazine.
And you know, I knew someone who knew someone in the industry, and you know,
who you know. That's another good tip.
connections are like the way to go. Honestly, you know, the networking, and it's so important to always be nice to everyone that you meet along the way, because
You're so good at that.
never know.
By the way. Like, you were one of the most humble, happy, like easily likable people I've ever met.
Yeah,
I'm sure you get that all the time.
I just again, because you just never know. Let's say had I pissed you off, you know, maybe 3, 4, 5 times,
All
or
the
even
years,
that.
not once do I ever remember ever thinking anything negative about you.
I wouldn't even be here if that was the case. So I feel like you just never know who you're gonna meet along the way. You just have to stay, you know, be nice to everyone. You know, you just have to. And I think that's with the industry, and that's just life in general. But yeah, and
it's hard to do that in a cutthroat industry.
Oh.
So it's not an easy task, but it is very, very important.
It is very. I mean, this industry will, you know,
because
chew
people
you up
talk,
and spit you out.
People talk, and you know, what do you want people saying about you? You know.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe you have something to say. Just just make sure they don't know.
Yeah.
Talk amongst your friends.
but being Latina magazine, and then you became the first Latina to appear in a docuseries, right?
Yes.
Now that's a huge accomplishment. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was definitely a different experience in my life. It was called Married at First Sight, and
I know it's such a pivotal moment in your career.
Yeah.
So, but those of you that don't know what that show is, so she had to marry somebody blind, like
a stranger.
that they picked who she was going to marry, and she had to enter into a real legal marriage binding contract.
Yes.
So, what had been going on in your life that you said, hey, I'm gonna do that,
right?
How do you get to the point where you're like, okay, I'll agree to that.
Yeah,
sure.
So
sign me up.
I was single for a good, I want to say 1.5, 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, I was in a 7-year relationship. So most of my 20s, I was in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I started in the industry, and we were young. The relationship was very rocky, but it became a point where it just was unhealthy for the both of us. But he had proposed. I said yes. We moved in together. Within a few months, it went to shits.
So a breakup after you're already engaged is even harder than
Yeah.
Okay. So you needed something drastic.
I guess. Yeah. You know what? I was single for almost 2 years. I was dating, but it wasn't. It was fun, but there was no one really that I was super interested in or had a great connection with.
How did you even find the opportunity? How did it fall into your lap?
It literally fell into my lap. So I guess just from being in the industry for so long, I get tons of emails for all sorts of TV shows. Bad Girls Club.
And you probably just filled out the form, not even really thinking too much into it at the time, right?
This one was, they made it seem like it was something like The Bachelor, but to another extent. And I was like, all right, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Why not,
Could
right?
be fun.
It could be fun. It could be great. So I actually signed up for season 1. I went to the open casting, and then they narrowed the girls down little by little as they do at every audition.
Sure.
And then it was a group of, I want to say maybe, 25, 30 women. And then that's when they got to the nitty-gritty and they said, the end purpose is to find you your perfect match, but the first time you meet him will be at the altar on your wedding day. And I was like, what? This is crazy. But I could possibly do this.
Yeah.
I'm single. I live alone. I was making great money. I was really, really happy with everything in my life, and I felt like that was kind of like the missing puzzle.
Okay.
The missing piece, I should say, to the puzzle.
I get it then.
So I signed up for season 1.
You gotta take risks in life, right? Because you never know what opportunities are gonna come, or why,
or meet along the way,
what paths you take, and for what reasons.
Exactly. And you know what? For me, the end all be all because my parents were not having it for season 1. They were like,
that's how you even tell your parents you're gonna do it?
Well, actually, I told my mom. I didn't tell my dad. We left him in the dark because he would lose it. My mom was like, you're not gonna do it. You're crazy. We watched season 1. It was a success.
Okay.
They reached out to me. They said, we want to try again for season 2. And I said...
Because they didn't find your perfect match in the guy yet, or who they thought would be a suitable match.
Exactly. So
for season 1.
For season 1.
So they saved you, and they hit you up for season 2.
Yes.
Ah.
So for me, it was like, I'm still single.
Yeah.
They're reaching out to me.
Yeah.
This is my time.
Okay.
This is for Jessica.
Yeah.
This is meant.
Yeah.
So I told my mom, I said, I'm sorry, but, season 1 was a huge success. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And
because you saw the show, you saw it wasn't a tacky show, it was respectful, like everything, it was like, it fell into where you could actually be yourself too.
Exactly. It wasn't, coming from acting, this was a whole different ball game. This was all real life, 24/7. It was not scripted. They might pick locations where to film, but for the most part, it was,
And you wanted to be
real life. I didn't want to play a character. I didn't want to do any of that, Plus, a marriage is not something that you play with.
True.
Especially a legal binding one. It wasn't like, you go on a date, if you like each other, then, whatever. But no, I was marrying this person.
Yeah. So, of course, as your friend, I watched the show.
Yeah.
It's been a couple years, so I have to refresh your memory a little bit. But what I remember loving the most is just how your positive energy just flew off the camera. You know what I mean? It was just the people watching fell in love with you instantly. You know what I mean? And not to brag, but you were like the star of that season.
You.
I mean, you were, right? I
love Jacqueline and Davina. I do. Those are my girls.
But when it comes down to it though, like you became like the person that everyone wanted to see the most on camera, right? And it was really because of your persona, your authentic persona that you showed the world. Like you gave them everything. You didn't hide any piece of you, Jessica. Like,
so raw.
You were just like, you know, and
crying on every episode.
Jessica, you were like, and that took so much courage. Oh my God! Like I don't think I could have did what you did and just been able to just be so bluntly just honest about who I was and let everyone see that without having some type of filter or wall or just you know, preservation. Like that just, I mean, that's not easy. That was so brave of you, and but at the same time that was great because that's what made you have the fan base that you had, the platform that you have now to be able to help and inspire all these people. Know that they can trust you. They know they can come to you and you can be that leader for them. So it, you know, it was incredible.
Yeah,
it was incredible
thank you. I definitely, you know, I signed up thinking, you know, this marriage is gonna work. This is gonna be for me. This is gonna be my fairy tale ending, sort of say.
Because you should go into it with that mentality. Otherwise, why bother?
Why bother?
You gave it your best absolute
I did.
shot.
Even
You left
when,
it all on the floor.
oh my God, and even when things went all the way left, I still like hung on until I realized that something was not right.
Yeah.
And that's when, you know, when you watch it, when you watch yourself on television, I kind of felt personally that I lost myself a little bit. Although I was still myself and very real and very raw, there was still some parts of me where I felt like I'm letting this person take so much control over my life that this has to end, because even when the filming stopped, it still got worse. You know, I didn't realize that I was being verbally abused while filming until I saw it with the world.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, wow, this is not Jessica, this is not my life, nor will this be my life.
You know, I always wondered, I wanted to ask you, how hard was that for you to kind of like hold all that in while it was, you know, being edited?
It was very hard, especially now that as the episodes were airing, people were starting to recognize me on the street, and people were literally, I remember one day,
Tell me about the first time you were recognized.
The first time?
No, wait.
I can't
about to tell me.
I can't remember the first time, but I remember one morning, I had just left his house in Staten Island, and that was a rough commute because I took the bus into the city. I worked in the Empire State Building, and it was a rough morning, and we had watched an episode the night before, that's why I was there, and it wasn't one of the easiest episodes. So I was already like kind of in a shit mood that night. You know, not everyone can say the same thing, so I'm, you know, very blessed about that, because people are cruel, especially on social media.
It comes with the territory,
right? Exactly. You know? So, but you know, that also
take it all in.
That gave me the thicker skin to just deal with it, because
and you have to have this. I'm sure just that experience you went through in general. I imagine you came out so tough out of that.
I had to.
You have to do it, not just you could do anything. You could do anything in the world. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Now I want to take it back a little bit to the moments when you're walking down the aisle and you see him for the first time. What's going through your head? Like, what's happening?
So honestly, it didn't really, that morning as I was getting hair and makeup, and I had my whole bridal team there, my mom, everyone's like getting done up, the flowers come, my nieces are there, my dad comes up as I got dressed, like, it was insane. It didn't really hit me, and then I'm in the elevator with my dad heading down to where, you know, he is and the family members are, and I'm in the elevator and I'm like, oh, this is happening. And now I'm starting to tremble and I'm shaking, and I look at my dad and I'm like, I'm shaking. He's like, me too. I'm like, you're not helping. So the doors open and I see him standing at, you know, at the end. And I see this
and you lock eyes.
Gorgeous smile. I mean, he's handsome.
Yeah,
he's handsome.
Yeah, he's a good looking guy.
He is.
At least you got that.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, yes, but in a way,
I'm playing.
It didn't help. It didn't help at all.
That's a good tip. Like, it's not all about looks, guys.
No, it really is not. I mean, you really have to fall for the person who can just, you know, treat you like the queen that you are. And obviously, he just he wasn't the one. But, you know, he's a good-looking guy, and I'm like, all right, well, this is a great start. This is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Like, everyone was super happy, super engaged.
But it helps you even enjoy that moment then, to
Oh,
have
yeah.
a great wedding
Yes.
and just kind of go into it at least with the right foot forward.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, it was a good start.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good start. So, and then the rest of it just went, you know.
Yeah. So what do you think was the turning point when you knew, okay, maybe this isn't really gonna be my dream guy?
Yeah. A lot of people, you know, when they watch the show, they're like, how can you not see that while you were filming? How can you not? But I was so naive to the situation, and I was
Everybody
so
is in the beginning of relationships. And then mind you, put the cameras on top of it.
24/7 while I'm working a full-time job. Like, it was intense. So I didn't see it during the filming, but it took some time once it started airing. And it was a little embarrassing because I let him treat me certain ways that I never had been treated in my life or in a relationship. He was very aggressive.
But maybe if the cameras weren't there, you wouldn't have taken it as much.
Right. So that's why for Decision Day we decided to stay together. Mm-hmm. And then when the cameras went off, it got worse. Mm-hmm. The verbal abuse was just as bad. The aggressiveness was just as bad. And there was one point I remember watching an episode which was one of our bigger fights with my parents. Mm. And that was probably the hardest thing because my mom sat there and she cried. I don't want to cry. But it was hard, and my dad just sat there like in complete shock. And I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is not Jessica. This is not my life. This is not why I signed up for this, you know?
Yeah.
So, through the process, I started to get a ton of messages from women all over the world. Wow. I'm in your same shoes, or I have been in your shoes. What advice can you give me? I mean, I've saved all the messages, and I've saved DMs, Facebook messages, emails. I mean, I've even given my number out to some of these women, a lot of the younger girls, just because I feel like, you may be close with your mom, but you just don't feel comfortable enough to open up to them.
Sure.
And that's the reason why I started, being a mentor for little girls, because a lot of them feel like they can't talk to their mom or their sister, their big sister, because they feel like they're being judged. Mm-hmm. And with me, I'm an open book, so I want people to feel comfortable with me and just, I try to give the best advice that I can through my experience and not, lead them the wrong way, because I know what it's like.
Sure.
I'm very close to my mom, but there was a point in my life where I was bullied, and she didn't know. I kept it to myself. So as a young girl, as a teenager, especially now at this day and age, it's hard. It's very hard. So I feel like it's important for these young girls to have mentors or leaders, someone they can look up to who's not going to judge them.
Think about all the lives that you're impacting and changing and helping and inspiring. Like, gosh, it kind of makes you look back on the situation and be like, even though it was so tough, in such a crazy part of your life, it was worth it. There was a reason behind it all, right?
Yes,
like, it was still meant to be.
Exactly.
So even the bad things that happen in your life sometimes are also really good things.
Yes. I like to call it pain into positivity. Because I could have let it ruin me inside, outside. I could have let it shatter my world. This was on national television. I could have let it get the best of me. But instead, I decided to put my big girl panties on and flip it, exactly. And
your life is about changing the lives of others.
Exactly, and it couldn't have happened without that process of going through that pain and turning it into positivity. And I think, I know that was the main reason. That was the purpose of me being on that show.
I know, and now you're a mentor for Girl Val. You have the Woman Inspiring Women panel.
Yes.
Like, tell us a little bit about all these, motivational speaker panel things that you're doing now.
It came about because, again, a lot of women started to reach out to me. What can I do? How can I go about, leaving this relationship, or how do I find the self-love within myself? And I would just tell them about my experience, and I saved everything, and then I got a publicist, and she said, you know what, Jess, we should have a women's empowerment event, and we should have 6 women on the panel of all different backgrounds and cultures and lifestyles, and speak on certain topics. But you are going to be more of the self-love, self-help, and it kind of just went on from there.
Yeah, it felt right?
It did. It felt right.
Like, this was my calling.
Exactly.
This is why that happens.
Exactly. For a really long time, I've been, wanting to act and model, and that was, and it's always gonna be my baby. I still do it on the side. It's always been a passion of mine.
Yeah.
Inspirational speaking, I never in a million years thought that would be my life, but this is my calling, and so this is what I've been doing. I've been very blessed to be on other panels. I was on one in August called Sis in Power, and I have one coming up now. It's a self-love workshop in the Bronx.
Oh, how nice.
March 17th. Yes. So, self-love. How do you find that love within yourself and not feel like you need to find it within a man or anyone else?
Where can people find your workshops to sign up for them?
Sure. So, I don't have a website, but everything is on my Instagram page. So, MSJ Castro.
Really done a great job mastering your social media, by the way.
Thank you so much. A lot of it did come from, the show and the fans, and
but you maintained it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Just continuing to be true to me,
yeah,
and not trying to be someone else. And someone asked me the other day, "How do you do it?" And my answer was, "Stay humble. Stay humble, because this can be taken away. Like, that could walk out from here, and God knows what happens.
Yeah. But a lot of time when people do TV shows, like, they're, they have the social media for the time of that show, but it's hard to hold on to them after the fact. Like, I think that's what made you, like, really the breakout star of that show from all the seasons, you know what I mean? Like, you're really the one, I think, that had that major success, because you figured out a way to turn that into something else that was bigger than the show, that kept the following coming and staying and being strong and loyal. And I think that's, like, a good, thing that people can learn from you, as far as they're looking to build their social media and stuff, that keeping your fans engaged.
Yes, absolutely. When I post something up, and the supporters will, like, comment, and I respond back, or they DM me and I respond back, and a lot of them are like, "Whoa,
because that's
you're responding." I'm like,
I know. I how when you're on there you can see, like, when you're looking through other people's photos, you can see who liked them.
Yes.
And I always see your name. And I think, so how does this girl have time
I know.
to support everyone else in her circle?
It's a full-time job.
But you are so good at it, Jessica.
I try to be. You know what?
I don't have all the patience for all the time to spend on social, because that's like a full-time job in itself. Social media is another job in your life but for you, it's like you have to, because social media is part of what you're doing now, as far as maintaining.
I also enjoy it so much.
Good. That helps.
It does get exhausting, because I do work a full-time job now. I've always kind of worked a full-time job in corporate, and I'm back at it now. I work for a nonprofit. So, that takes up a lot of my time, but
you make the time for it, and you're consistent.
I enjoy it.
You respond to everyone.
Well, because I feel like you just never know when someone's really going through something, and that's another reason why I continue to share my story, because I feel like we never know who's listening and who it's gonna help. People are like, "Oh my God, you're still talking about that show." I'm like, it's not about the show anymore.
It's not.
Like, we mentioned earlier, I don't want to be known as reality star Jessica Castro. No, it's something so much.
Reality TV. It was more like a docu-series,
exactly
like you
what
said,
it was.
because it wasn't scripted. You were real.
Right.
And I don't know any other reality TV that's really reality.
Right, exactly. Well, yeah, when first 2 seasons were more documentary style, and now it's just turned into a full-blown shit show.
Oh, I haven't watched any of the ones after you. I only watched your season to support you. I didn't watch anyone else. But yeah, I met all the other stars didn't have any type of overturn like you have, as far as what it's turned into. So.
I follow my path and what's meant for me, and I just continue to go. And again, this is what I enjoy doing.
Jessica, you have such an amazing heart. Like, your soul is just so beautiful. And I know, us both being Puerto Ricans.
Yes.
I know you did something for PR Relief. Yes. I did something for PR Relief. Oh, tell me a little bit about what you did.
Sure. So I partnered up with a nonprofit in Bushwick. They were going for 7 days. I could only go for 5. But we went out there with a 40 by 40 foot container filled with food, water, clothes, furniture, a stove, a generator, like all of this, and we posted up in Aguadilla.
That's where my family's from.
Really?
In
See?
Isabela, we'll be flying to
Oh
Aguadilla.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
right near
Oh my
there.
God, yeah, right there. We actually went there. I know it's
It's so sad.
It's so sad what's going on over
way
there.
Too long without electricity.
I mean, for the most part, the
Some of
island
them
still.
still,
My
some of
family
them-
live
some
in
areas.
Ponce. Still no light. So, you know, we try to do as much as we could, but the red taping situation, we actually had an issue with our container being held at the port of San Juan as well.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it was, you know, that held us back a few days, but once we got the container, we were able to, you know, do the donations.
But the fact that you physically went there, like it's one thing to
know.
send money, but it's another thing to physically go there, be there, and
Oh my
hands-on
God.
help people. That's just amazing.
When the storm hit, I cried. I mean, I bawled my eyes out.
Oh, sweetheart.
So it really hit home for me. I had family there, you know, someone that I was dating lived there. It was a lot.
Yeah.
And I kept telling myself, I need to go. Don't know how it's going to happen. It happened. We went. And
How
it
did you
was,
even find the team that you wanted to go with?
someone actually reached out to me,
Oh,
who I have on Facebook,
wow.
that watched the show.
Wow.
And the
Oh.
company is based in Bushwick, which is where I am from.
Oh wow.
And I met the organizer, and within 2 days they were like,
So
"You're
how
going."
long were you out there for?
I was there for 5 days.
Where did you
Well,
guys even sleep?
Well, we stayed in Aguadilla. So one of the girls that went with us, her parents, where her mom has a house there, and her mom lives here in New York. So we
Okay.
were able to stay there.
Okay,
They had
good.
running water, freezing, so we took freezing showers, but no electricity. So we weren't there during
to
the
put
day.
yourself in that situation,
Yeah.
that, you know, that takes.
We had a lot of precautions, but you know, we made it happen, and we'll be back in June.
It's amazing,
And then
Jessica.
hopefully in
Thank you
August.
so much for
Oh my God.
helping.
Of course, I'd do it 10 times over.
Yeah.
10 times, without a doubt.
Girl, you were just an incredible woman. You
Thank
really
you.
are. I mean, I'm just
tried.
again, I'm just so honored and blessed to have you here today. Thank you for sharing your story with all of us, and keep inspiring and making a difference in the world.
I will try. I will try my best.
If you
That's all
want
I
to
can
talk
do.
about like, having a meaningful life, this girl is a definition right now of bringing true meaning and
Thank
value
you.
to her life.
You know, my new motto is create the best version of you.
Yes, yes. That's a perfect note to leave the show on. Create the best version of you, said by Jessica Castro herself. And again, you're watching Tools for Talent on TFTV. I'm your host, Cheryl Martinez. Thanks for watching, guys.
I really do. Yes,